Hello, so today we're going to continue with the Greek. Welcome. We're going to check out the future and active middle today. So we're moving from the present tense to the future tense. Let's see what we can find. So to form the future tense in English, we use shall or will, and we add it to the present verb. And shall is obviously very rarely used today, even for the first person. So examples would be present tense I eat and future tense I will eat. Very easy, very straightforward. So let's look at the future, active, and middle, their forms. So forming the future, active, and middle, they're both built on the present stem. However, the future passive, which we will be looking at later in a different section, is built on a different stem. So that's why we're not looking at it right now. And the future tense in general has the strongest time emphasis of all the Greek tenses. So let's look at the basic pattern, the basic idea. So future active. So we would use the same way of constructing it as previously. We have the present stem, lu. Then the difference here in terms of future is that we have what is known as the tense formative sigma, that we place it before the personal ending. And obviously, we have the active ending since we're talking about the future active verbs. So we have luso, I will lose. So the basic pattern should be very straightforward, and it is actually very easy because all you do is that you recognize the sigma just prior to the personal ending. So here's the full chart. Luso, I will lose. Luseis, you will lose, singular. Lusei, he, she, or it will lose. Lusomen, we will lose. Lusete, you will lose, plural. And lususi, they will lose. Very straightforward. Now we have some complications that are introduced when we have contract verbs and certain consonants that collide with the tense formative. So the contract vowel lengthens before the tense formative. If you remember, the contract verbs were the ones where the vowel contracts just prior to the personal ending. So here we have agapa, the stem for the verb agapao, and then when we add the sigma, the tense formative, we can see that the alpha here actually lengthens to eta. So agapeso, I will love. Now that's not something that you need to be able to again construct. However, you should be able to recognize this as the future verb, first person singular. Similarly, we have poieo, so poie plus sigma becomes poieso. So the epsilon lengthens to eta, but we still have the sigma in both of these situations that should be helping us to identify the verb. Similarly, plero becomes plero plus sigma, so the omicron lengthens to omega. So pleroso, I will fulfill. So next we have some consonantal contractions that take place. So we have the verb blepo. So as we have blep, so P and sigma collide, we actually get blepso. So notice now you cannot recognize immediately the sigma there because it has been contracted and absorbed into the psi. Same thing, grapho plus the sigma becomes grapso. So you notice that there's a category of consonants called labials, which would all contract with the sigma into psi. Similarly, we have a group of consonants called velars that would contract with sigma into xi. So we have, for example, the verb dioko, to pursue or persecute. Diok plus the sigma becomes dioxo, I will pursue. Or ago, lead, agso becomes axo. Actually, both groups are very logical if you think about it. Then finally we have the dental consonants that always end up becoming sigma. So we have baptizo plus sigma becomes baptizo, I will baptize. Or peitho, peith plus sigma becomes peiso, I will persuade. So now you don't need to again remember the in-between stages, but if you see baptizo, you should be able to recognize that as future tense. Peiso, similar dioxo, axo, grapso, or blepso. So let's look at next the future middle indicative. So middle voice is different from active and passive in the future. So obviously future middle employs future active stem but middle passive ending. So let's look at what it actually looks like in practice. So we have le, then we have, which is the present stem, then we have the tense formative sigma, but now we have to use the middle endings as we just learned in our previous lesson. So lu so mai, I will lose myself. So here you can see the standard chart. So lusomai, I will lose myself. So notice there's the sigma that indicates to us that it is future tense. And then omai ending indicates to us that it is middle. So I will lose myself. Similarly, luse, lusetai, lusometha, luseste, and lusontai. And finally, let's look at the future indicative of the verb to be or aimi. So the verb aimi does not have middle or passive function in the future sense. So there's only one form. So, and obviously, as before, the verb aimi is irregular. So you just have to memorize it. So esomai, I will be, esse, you will be, estai, he, she, it will be, and in plural, esometha, we will be, eseste, you will be, esontai, they will be.